Alright, story time video. I'd have to say this took place when I was maybe 14, 15, 16, somewhere in that area. I was living in Tennessee, and I had my best friend that I stayed the night at her house almost every weekend. Basically every weekend it was at her house. We were really close. We were close like sisters. We shared everything, talked about everything. When I was having a hard time in my life because there was a lot of family issues, she was the person I talked to, and she was usually the one that helped me through it. And the same with her. If something happened with her, I was the one to help her through it. But I was at her house, and we were staying at her grandma's house, and her grandma had this boyfriend. I'm not going to mention any names in this video. I do not want to put anybody out there because they probably wouldn't like, stories being told. Anyways, we were staying at her grandma's house because that's where she went to every other weekend, was her grandma's house, and her grandma had this boyfriend. And her grandma's boyfriend was so rude, so mean, especially to my friend. I don't know what it was, if he didn't like her or if he was just that way to everyone, but he was just really mean. I actually almost hit him one time. He made me so mad for being mean to my friend, but that's a whole other story. But anyways, so like I said, we were at her grandma's house, and my friend and him got in a fight. And I can't remember what this fight was about, but it was really bad. And it was really bad. We ended up, my friend ended up calling someone that she knew. Yeah, it was someone that she knew, a family friend, a close family friend, or I can't remember if it was actually a family member, but I don't think her family hung around them. But I think it was just a family friend. She's like, hey, can you come and get me and my friend? Talking about her and me. And she's like, no, but you can walk up to my house. Now in Tennessee, if you've ever been there, it's mostly country unless you live in the bigger cities, but it's mostly country. You live in the country roads out in, where there's woods and stuff. And so she lived out on this back road that, didn't have very many houses. It was mostly woods and stuff. And if you walked, I would say maybe 20-30 minute walk, you would get to this person's house. So we were just going to walk, but it was really late at night. When we were going to go walking, it was really, really late at night. My mom did not know any of this was happening. I did not want to call my mom. At that point, I was just like, if I call my mom, she's going to want me to come home, and I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to leave my friend. She was having a hard time, and I just wanted to be with my friend. So I was like, my mom doesn't need to know about this. And my mom, I don't think my mom ever found out about this. Maybe my sister did, but my mom, I don't think she ever did. But so we were walking, and I guess it ended up that the person she called, their husband, was going to come get us, but he had a suspended license or didn't have a license at all, something with a license, and he ended up actually having to go to jail because he was staying with his wife, and the wife, I guess they had a lot of problems, and she had taken a restraining order. Now, I don't know the whole story. It wasn't my place to be asking, but it just seemed like that wasn't really in any better situation to be in, but it was safer for my friend because I knew that, we knew that nothing would happen to us being there. Any problems they had, it wasn't on us. So it was safer for us, and we were really young still. So I mean, we had to go somewhere, and that was the closest place. Like I said, if you know Tennessee, living out in the country, places are kind of far apart. I mean, unless you live in town or in a city. Like, if you live out in the country, things can be quite, far apart. So like I said, we were walking, and we didn't know that the person she called husband was going to come get us. We didn't know anything about that until later, but anyways, we were walking, and like I said, it was late at night, and there's a curfew for people under the age of 18. It was past that curfew, so we were just trying to hurry up and go. Cops actually went by us driving down this back road, and we were like, oh shit. So we just kind of kept walking. They passed us, but then they turned around and came back, and I was like, oh shit. At that time, me and my friend were kind of bad. We were pretty, I mean, not bad, like, well, okay, bad, but we like smoked cigarettes and drinking stuff, and I had cigarettes on me, and I was like, well, they see cigarettes, obviously they're gonna know I'm underage, and I didn't want to get in trouble, so I'm sitting here trying to find a place to hide these cigarettes, and I'm sitting here like, you can obviously tell if they're in my pocket. I wasn't carrying a purse, so the only place I had to do is, like, I put it in my bra, in between my boobs, and I was just like, I hope for any reason at all that they don't decide to, like, search us or anything like that, which I don't think they were going to, but I'm just like, for any reason, I hope that for any reason they just don't, because I was really scared. I was really paranoid at that point, and I was trying to act cool, and she was trying to act cool, but I was the one holding, so I was like, she's not even gonna get in trouble. And luckily that didn't happen. I mean, they didn't search. Turned out fine. They took us to this person's house. They stopped and asked why we were walking. And I said, well, my friend said, well, we're just walking to where we're going. We're going to be home in a few minutes. And they left, and then they came back, and they're like, well, actually the person that you're coming, we had to arrest him. And that's when we found out that the guy had been arrested, and we're like, oh, we didn't even know he was coming to get us, but yeah, that's where we're going. They're like, well, we'll give you a ride there. So that was the first time that's the only time, I should say, I've ever been in the back of a police car, and it was the most uncomfortable thing. I wasn't even wearing handcuffs or anything, but being in the back of a police car is the most uncomfortable thing, especially for a taller person. There's not much foot room at all, and I was bigger. Well, I'm still big, but I'm big, and it's not easy, even having your hands available to help you in and out. It's not easy. But yeah, it was kind of freaky, and I was just thinking, my mom cannot find out about this. I will never be allowed over here again, even if it's not because I'm in trouble, but I'm in a police car. There is no good way of looking at that. So yeah, it was crazy, and we ended up going over there, and the guy was arrested. My friend felt really bad about that, because she's like, well, if I would have never called, but it was a whole bad situation, and the friend understood. They're like, well, you guys needed to get out of there. So we were there, and we were late at night, and I mean, we felt comfortable over there. We could be ourselves. My friend's grandma actually ended up coming over there and was like, you guys need to come home right now, or I'm going to call Katie's parents. And my friend's like, go ahead and call Katie's parents and tell them what you did and see what happens. Katie's mom's not going to like what happens, and he's going to go to jail. And they ended up never calling, because my mom never said anything about it. So I guess whatever my friend said made her not call, which I'm kind of thankful for. But yeah, it was an all bad situation. It was very stressful. It was scary for me being in that age. It was scary for me. Thinking about it now, if it would happen to me now, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be a big deal at all, but I remembered being really scared because of what had happened. I mean, I had seen the guys, my friend's grandma's boyfriend, carrying a gun around the house, and he was a drunk, so there's no telling when people if they're just mean anyways, but they get drunk on top of it. I mean, it just doesn't mix, and I didn't want to be there anymore anyways, so I mean, everything worked out. We stayed. We went home the next day. Then I got to go home, like, to actually my house, and I never told my mom. I didn't even end up telling my sister till years later. But yeah, it was crazy, and thinking back on it now, I just have to laugh, because I guess if I wasn't in that situation, then I guess I would never have to gone through that, but that was my life, and that's my story. One of them, one of many. There will be more. Anyways, thank you for watching, and please subscribe, and have a wonderful day or night. Thank you. Bye.